This is another clip from Kevin Hassett, Director of National Economic Council, who's out here explaining to that liar, Jake Tapper, exactly how good things are. Jake?
When I look at the real hard data, Jake, then one of the things I'm seeing is the core GDP was about 3%. The jobs numbers are very positive. There's lots of wage growth. Capital spending was up 20% in the first quarter, which means that there's a lot of onshoring going on. And I think in addition, we've got something like $5 trillion in hard commitments and a whole bunch more. We got $600 billion more from the Saudis today to create jobs in America, to build businesses in America. And the momentum is super positive. And so the sentiment data is going to catch up with the real data. The real data are strong. And imagine that inflation was down, way down in the CPI report today. And it was a month, April, where we had about 20 billion in tariffs. And the story that everybody's been saying is, oh, those tariffs are going to cause prices to go way up. They're going to harm consumers. But clearly we got the revenue. That's good for treasury rates, and it didn't cause inflation.
Yeah, sounds like good progress. And we're seeing inflation numbers and other things moving down. We're seeing income from the tariffs come in. This was posted over at Zero Hedge from Tyler Durden. He said, long time ago, about 2 weeks ago, the Treasury surprised the market when it said, actually, we don't need all of the money that we thought we needed. They said, our actual requirements are $53 billion lower than we had initially forecast. And that was a big deal because it indicated the Doge is working. Now, needless to say, for a market that was habituated to Joe Biden's debt-funded, drunken sailor spending ways, the news that the U.S. would need less, not more, spending than previously expected came as a shock. What? How can you do the same thing with less money? Now, today we got the reason why borrowing and the need of the U.S. was surprisingly lower than previously expected. It was revealed in the latest Treasury monthly statement, laying out the government's monthly deficit was rather a surplus. We don't need that money because we've got money coming in. Yes, we are so used to describing the sum total of the U.S. government's monthly income statement as a deficit. We're used to just, oh no, we're down again, in the red. It's become automatic to assume every month that the U.S. will spend more than it brings in. Only this time, that wasn't the case. More money came in than went out. That's why we didn't need it from the debt. Here's Exhibit A. In April, the U.S. Treasury generated $258.4 billion in surplus after last month's $160 billion deficit. This is the second biggest surplus on record, with just $308 billion bumper surplus, which was in 2021, which is a little bit bigger.